I'm Jenn de la Vega.
And I'm Clara Park.
And welcome to The Cinema Chefs, the podcast for people who love to cook, watch movies, and cook what they see in movies. Today we're going to talk about the fine dining culture in
The Menu.
Wow, we're so good at that now.
The best.
Some spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie, and if you're going to watch it, I want to issue a content warning for extreme violence, suicide, and immolation.
What is the one-sentence summary of the movie? An intimate group of diners head to a remote island for a meal with the world's most famous and reclusive chef for an experience they'll never forget.
We chose this movie because it really makes you think about food and cooking at the highest level. What does that actually mean, and the ramifications of preparing food or working in restaurants of that caliber. Also, spoiler, there's a really good-looking cheeseburger.
Yes, it looked so good. Also, one of my death row meals for sure.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Cheeseburger and french fries is one of my top meals of all time. There's never a time where I don't want a cheeseburger and fries. So this movie just resonated with me deeply on multiple levels. More on cheeseburgers later. I think every chef I know was talking about this movie when it came out.
Yeah, it's true. It struck a chord with industry folks much the same way as Chef, like we discussed in episode 1. I almost didn't watch it. When things are too close to reality, I tend to avoid them. Like I haven't actually had the heart to watch The Bear yet.
Wait, what?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, stop what you're doing immediately. You need to watch that show.
No!
Side note, The Bear is the best television show ever made about what it's like to work in restaurants and be a chef. Okay, end note. The Menu came out in 2022, directed by Mark Mylod and written by Seth Rice and Will Tracy. The film stars Ralph Fiennes as Chef Julian Slowick, Anya Taylor-Joy as Margot, and Nicholas Hoult as everyone's nightmare, an obsessed foodie, Tyler. Both Fiennes and Taylor-Joy were nominated for Golden Globes for their performances. I want to make honorable mentions for John Leguizamo and Judith Light, who were so good in their roles. The culinary consultant for the movie was superstar chef Dominique Crenn of the Michelin-starred Atelier Crenn in San Francisco. She created the dishes for the movie and also helps lend credibility to the actors by coaching them. Fun fact, the second unit director was David Gelb, who created Netflix's sensational Chef's Table.
Whoa, that guy knows how to film food.
Definitely.
So, fine dining. We touched on some of our experiences in our Willy Wonka episode. At the start of this film, we open with Margot lighting a cigarette and Tyler already telling her what to do, as he does through the whole film. He says it'll kill her palate. At 2 minutes 48 seconds, they board a freaking boat to get to a private island. A boat. Have you ridden a boat to get to a restaurant?
No, I have not.
That is how opulent this is, you know? At 3 minutes, 26 seconds, we get our first course on the boat. A raw local oyster, mignonette emulsion, lemon caviar oyster leaf. In this essay, I'm just kidding. You could tell that Dominique Crenn wrote this menu. She's in the San Francisco Bay Area. Oysters are incredible over there on the West Coast. It's like Little Surf and Turf reimagining of a simple oyster with lemon. So it's abstracted with molecular gastronomy. I'd like to correct a little bit though. It's technically an emulsion, sure, but the more accurate title would be a foam, mignonette foam. And I've never had oyster leaf, a type of borage. Have you had this, Clara?
No, I don't know what oyster leaf is, but I think that's the sort of inside joke in that movie is that nobody knows what all this stuff is. It's like meant to be really obscure, really out there, and that's funny. It is a foam. People consider foam passé these days. Like I think when I was
That's true.
cooking in the early 2000s, people used foam all the time. Espuma from El Bulli, and people just don't use that term anymore, but it's obviously a foam.
At 4 minutes, 8 seconds, there's a little foreshadowing. Margot says she prefers just the oyster. She also later says they have reached the base camp of Mount Bullshit. I mean, lines like this make me think the movie is cheesy, but it's just because she's hit the nail on the head too hard, you know?
Yeah, she's slamming the nail on the head with the sledgehammer.
At 4 minutes, 50 seconds, we meet our maitre d', Elsa. For French speakers, that phrase sounds incomplete. The D precedes something. It means of something. So the full phrase is actually maitre d'hotel, or butler, concierge, or head waiter. At 8 minutes, 20 seconds, we get to the barracks. Here we are family. This part is so scary. And also another bit of foreshadowing, we never burn anything unless by design to make delicious. Extremely messed up considering the ending.
Yeah, so I've watched this movie a couple times now, and the dialogue is airtight. And every time you watch it, there's more meaning, more foreshadowing. They're not very subtle about it once you keep watching it. And I know this is supposed to be a black comedy, but I have literally served every single one of the patrons in the restaurant.
I believe it. Personally don't get this clientele often, though I used to work with some people like this. Like 20 minutes into the movie, Dave, one of those finance bros, calls the first course otter food. Because I had a coworker who pointed to a salad and said, "What is this, rabbit food?"
So dumb.
Oh, God.
Yup. The arrogant critic, the finance bros, the wealthy couple that doesn't care about the food but just wants to say that they ate there, the Hollywood set, and frickin' Tyler.
Yeah, for $12.50 a head. I'm not saying $12.50. I'm saying $1,250. It's a very small self-selecting sample, and that's probably why you saw the same types of diners over and over again. Slowick says, "I've allowed this price point to get to a point where only the people in this room can afford it. People who can never be satisfied." Ooh.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. At 2 minutes into the movie, Tyler makes a face when the finance bros arrive on the dock. It's like he has a hierarchy of assholes in his head.
Yeah, there's a definite hierarchy of assholes. He doesn't realize he's in that hierarchy.
Exactly. When we get to the end, they're all assholes.
Yeah, the lack of self-awareness of any of them is really painful, but I don't think it's inaccurate. I think these people, even though they're supposed to be sort of caricatures of humans, I think people in these upper echelons of wealth and society, they don't think that there's anything wrong with their behavior, which is really kind of shocking and disgusting. That very painful cooking scene with Tyler, 1 hour, 6 minutes in, I think sums up how many chefs feel about the overly enthusiastic diner. It's one thing to obsess over a menu and know every single detail about a dish, which is annoying, and its ingredients, but it's an entirely different thing to know how to prepare the dish and do it well. When I was working at Momofuku Co., this guy sat in front of me and we had this spring pea soup on the menu at the time. He said, "It's so good," and he asked me how to make it. I explained it to him in pretty good detail, made sure he had a Vitamix blender, and sent him on his way. He came back like a month later and basically complained to me that his soup didn't taste as good as one I had made. I just replied, "If you could make soup like I could, then I wouldn't have a job."
Yeah, really. What we do as chefs takes years of training and practice. It's not something that you can learn overnight. There are low barriers to entry, and it is possible to get there, but the menu drives home the point that the trained cooks at Hawthorne are very different from the Tylers of the world, no matter how many hours of Chef Table he's watched, or the tons of magazine articles and restaurant reviews he's read. The unearned confidence is real.
I think that the reason why he's so confident is he has no idea. Because he has so much literate knowledge, because he's read so much and he's studied so much, but the actual execution and practice of cooking, he is a complete idiot. I think the movie also nails the level of discipline it takes to work in those high-level kitchens. I don't think it was exaggerated at all. Clearly murder and violence are wrong, but the almost cult-like devotion to your chef and the 100% pure obedience is definitely expected in many kitchens at that level.
And how clean and shiny was everything. Even at the end during the final course, it was completely clean. I watched those videos of the chefs at Mugaritz in Spain. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they scrub everything down at the end of the night.
Yeah, you won't see a fleck of dust or a spot of dirt. Alinea is also an inspiration in this film, and a friend of mine worked there. So I think that they had to do an insane clean in the kitchen twice a day. Obviously at the end of the night, but also in the middle of prep, 2 or 3 o'clock, you would have to remove everything from all your stations and scrub everything super clean just to put everything back, and then do dinner service and then do it again. And
that's a lot.
to me, it just seems really inefficient and mean.
Yeah, it's a power trip.
For sure.
Those blue aprons are a nod to the French Laundry, Thomas Keller. I also love the constant mention of the Pacojet. Clara, what is a Pacojet?
Yes, the Pacojet. For our listeners, the Pacojet is an ultra high-speed blender mixer used in every high-end kitchen to make ice creams, compound butters, mousses, soups, etc. They also cost thousands of dollars. I think the magic of the Pacojet is it's like a couple thousand revolutions per minute. You can incorporate a lot of air. The rule when we were making ice creams using the Pacojet is it had to be frozen solid. Like you could take someone out with how frozen the mixture was. And then you buzz it in the Pacojet and then it was perfect ice cream.
Wow.
So Swiss, very expensive.
I'd like to try to use one day.
They're really
I've never
fun to
touched
use.
one.
They're really fun to use. I think a lot of the Swiss appliances and machinery, they're so meticulously made, they're so powerful, and they're so elite, but most people can't afford them.
Also in the film, there are a bunch of allusions to Noma, the world's best restaurant from 2010 to 2014. We had the little Nordic-style smokehouse. We had the scallop harvesting, the dried seaweed, liquid nitrogen cooking, duck brains served in duck skulls, ants, food for the masses. I also read about a media personality who shall not be named, had some food poisoning the night before the reservation, and when they got to the offal courses, it shoved him over the edge and he was not able to enjoy himself.
That sounds like my nightmare. Oh my God. But the chef founder, Rene Redzepi, is also not without controversy. What the public found out was that his restaurant was reliant on armies of unpaid interns. Call me a bleeding heart liberal, but if your business model relies on unpaid labor, it's not actually a viable business model.
Yeah, he also admitted to abusing his staff.
Gross. Do you think it's possible to procure the highest levels of ingredients with the craziest amount of preparation and pay people a living wage?
Well, Margot, at the beginning of the film, hears that there are only 12 customers that night, and she asks, how do they turn a profit? And the quick answer is, some people do, some people just don't. Slowick, in this instance, relies on Doug Varick, an angel investor, and how rare are those? That's why they're called angel investors. It's a balance. As a business owner, it's cheapest to do everything myself. I do not hire lightly. If it's physically impossible for me to do everything in the allotted time, I will hire people at a minimum of $20 an hour, and I'm actively trying to negotiate budget so I can raise it $1 every year. There's a reason why I stick to comfort food. Fine dining is just maybe too much overhead. The busy work, the preparation, that is more time, money, and space that I don't have. And my community isn't really spending that kind of money either. And I just don't want it to be cost prohibitive. And I took a class on restaurant financials to explore whether this was a viable solution for someone like me. And the short answer is hell no. Real estate is the biggest factor for the profitability of a restaurant. A conveniently located casual restaurant has, on average, a 4% profit margin in the first year. A remote fine dining establishment has a slightly higher return at 5%. But that is so little and so much waiting until you actually make some money. And it's a loss from the outset. This is why I am a caterer. So catering has about a 60% profit margin.
Whoa!
Because I don't have to operate a space or vehicles of my own. I have insurance, permits, a team, and the ideas. And it's why there's a huge boom in pop-up culture all over the US. Have you noticed this? Yeah, a lot of us just do not want the risk involved when you deal with a lease.
Going back to the movie, I think the line that just gutted me was, quote, "You are the reason why the mystery has been drained from our art," that chef says to Tyler. And that struck, I kind of cried. It was like a gut punch. That's what it's become. One of my old bosses used to say that certain diners that, have a lot of money and status, they treat dining as a competitive sport.
Yeah.
And that is it. Oh, did you eat here? Well, I ate there. Well, do you know the chef? I know the chef. Ooh, did you do the chef's table in the kitchen? Yeah, I did. Did you get invited to that preview party? So it's not about the food anymore. It's just about bragging rights to say that you're a little bit higher up in the totem pole because you get access to XYZ. And to me, that's not the point of restaurants. That's not the point of feeding people. For the highest level of fine dining, it's basically an impossible proposition. The costs are unsustainable. And the only people that can afford to pay exorbitant fees are typically people that don't actually enjoy the food. I think that's why the cheeseburger scene is so important.
Yeah, we don't get the cheeseburger scene until 1 hour and 30 minutes into the film. It's the first time the chef is cooking something for someone who is genuinely hungry and wants to eat. It's the first time he actually smiles.
Yeah, and it's such a good Ray Fiennes smile. Smile at me, Ray Fiennes. I think it's also noteworthy that Margot wants the most common, readily available dish ever.
But not all cheeseburgers are created equal.
Nope. The scene features the classic smash burger, toasted sesame bun, and American cheese.
Which is the perfect cheese because it doesn't split when it melts. Agreed. Toasting the bun with butter is key. It's nice and golden brown, and you can hear it when she bites into it.
He's getting very excited to think about how to make the best cheeseburger. Thinly sliced slivers of onions get steamed with the burger and beef fat, adding such great flavor. Jen, what kind of ground beef do you like for your burgers?
I love 80/20. It's a classic, but I have been experimenting with more poultry, so chicken burger, turkey burger, because I guess I've been eating a lot of beef. Just trying to diversify here.
Do you add fat to account for the leaner proteins?
I do. I actually have heavy cream in my burger recipes.
That's brilliant. So for our listeners, heavy cream is about 40% fat. Ground chicken, ground turkey is almost no fat.
Yeah.
By adding this luscious, fatty, heavy cream. That's actually a really brilliant chef hack.
Yeah, I actually got it from James Beard. I read it in a cookbook a while ago. But the rule that I've discovered in preparing ground meat products is 1 tablespoon per pound of heavy cream.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And then the heavy cream will also help with browning of the patty.
Exactly. You don't lose too much fat also.
That is a great chef hack. That is why you guys listen to the Cinema Chefs. I'm a diehard cheeseburger and fries kind of girl. I don't really ever do turkey burgers. You know, actually, is my favorite non-red meat burger is a salmon burger. Yeah, I love a good salmon burger.
Wow.
Obviously with some sort of herby mayonnaise, because we all know how much I love mayonnaise. And yeah, tomato in season, good piece of lettuce, nice buttery brioche bun. My favorite ground beef for a burger is 80/20. For our listeners, 80% meat, 20% fat. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. I think some places I've been, they get really indulgent and it's like, 75-25 or 70-30. That to me is too much fat.
Or like they do short rib and I'm like, my lips are covered in fat. Too much.
It should be balanced. I don't think you should feel like you're sucking on beef fat. I don't need the fancier cuts of beef. I don't need Wagyu or short rib or really pricey meats. I think that a good burger is for everybody. Ground chuck. Maybe if you're fancy, you can put some like brisket in it for like a little bit of different flavor, but I don't think you should use really nice cuts of meat for grinding for a hamburger. And I actually prefer a thick slice of cheddar cheese for melting. What's your cheese of choice?
Well, I go for the all-American slice because it is melty. It's very smooth. If I do anything artisanal, I'll always go for the Alpine family. Those are classic melters. That's raclettes, your Emmentaler's, your Gruyères. All other cheeses are kind of much too delicate to put on a hot burger. Like a brie will just turn into butter. A blue cheese will just turn into liquid. Like, it doesn't really stay.
I agree. Gruyere on a burger is also killer.
It looks like the burger balls in this instance in the film are smaller, probably 3-4 ounces each, and the temperature is crazy hot as he presses them down with the meat weight, the iron weight.
It's like tss. You can hear that sizzling hot metal. He also, as the best chef in the world, puts a lot of freshly ground black pepper and I'm sure a good amount of salt. She asks for a medium, but by the juiciness when he smushes the burger, to me it looks more like a medium rare.
Oh, that's that Gelb guy. That's a chef's table touch there. They were doing it for the effect. Clara, how do you feel about pickles on a burger?
Requirement for a good burger. Requirement.
Yeah.
I love acid, so this is something that we talk about in a lot of different episodes. I think balance and contrast are key to food. When you have something really wonderfully fatty and meaty and juicy like a cheeseburger, you want that contrast of acid from a pickle, pickled red onion, but you want a little bit of that sharpness and bite to cut through all that unctuousness to make a more pleasing situation.
Nice, nice.
What's your ideal topping situation?
Well, starting with the pickle, I hate it when they're dinky. I hate it when they're too thin. It's really disappointing because they're not crunchy anymore when they're too thin. They just sort of get pressed into the bun and you don't know that you've had a pickle. I like them on the newer side. I like them a little thicker so that I can bite into it and feel that there's a pickle there. I do like really thinly sliced red onion. I'm a huge fan of iceberg shreddus. Like, I do love it.
Wow.
I do love it. I do like that crunch. Though, my biggest pet peeve is when I'm eating a burger and the tomato and the lettuce have just completely gone soggy and I end up pulling them out. It's just unpleasant. I just do not like wilted lettuce. So, like, maybe sometimes I'll cut my burger in half, put the tomato and lettuce on one half, eat that one, and then just enjoy the other half without it.
Is a very interesting burger move.
I'm ridiculous. I just like the textural, satisfaction you get from the cold vegetables, but as the burger sits, I don't want it in the second half.
That's really interesting.
That's how I am. I don't know. It's
well,
very
and then
particular.
Also, your beloved shredded lettuce or shreddus, because it's much smaller, it's going to wilt faster.
Yeah.
It's so contradictory. Interesting.
I know.
I have a similar but different. Mm-hmm. I also love shaved red onion, butter lettuce,
Delicate.
dill pickles, tomatoes in seasoned tomato, salt, pepper.
That's a good one. That's a good trick.
Toasted buttered sesame bun. Sorry, brioche, but the sesame bun is king for me. Cheddar, medium rare.
Yeah, I don't like the brioche buns.
Love them, but I just love the sesame one more. Sort of like Sophie's Choice. But fun tip also for our listeners, a lot of people find raw onion flavor a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too biting. What I learned at one of my jobs was you shave the red onion or white onion or Mayan onion, put it in ice water to kind of remove some of the
bite
compounds and bite that make it so spicy. And it actually really works. And it also kind of keeps them kind of crisp. So.
All right, let's get into some culinary terms that we saw throughout the movie.
I mean, this whole film is like going to culinary school.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes, but we'll condense it to this highlights list that we have here.
Love it. The first thing that I remember seeing in the movie that was the most chefy for non-chefs is Amuse bouche. It's French for pleasing to the mouth. It is a welcome from the chef. Hey, welcome. We're so happy you're here. Here's a little something to delight your palate to get you started on this culinary journey.
Yeah, at 12 minutes, that's where we got the oyster on the boat. That was the amuse.
Then we move on to mignonette, which is a condiment with shallots, cracked pepper, and vinegar originally. Now I think people get fast and loose with mignonette as anything sort of liquidy that gets served with raw oysters. Did you notice that too?
I mean, people do be innovating out there.
But it's like, Barren Point oysters with strawberry mignonette.
Yes.
There's no shallots, there's no pepper, there's no vinegar. It's not technically a mignonette, but because it's served with oysters, I think people call it that.
Yeah, I think people are generalizing it to be something vinegary that you put with oysters. We had a mansplaining moment about alginate, like algae, yes.
Frickin' Tyler.
Alginate is a gelling agent made from brown seaweed.
I love that they talked about this in the movie because I think with a lot of different diets, certain gelling agents like gelatin are not vegan friendly.
Yes.
And I did not know this, honestly. I think until I started working in restaurants, I was like, what do you mean Jell-O is not vegan? And
I was always told horse.
Oh gosh, wow. Gelatin is made of animal bones, cartilage, and skin. Yikes.
Okay. Well, if you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah, I knew it was an animal product. And moving on. Dry aging proteins, 152 days, which is so random.
That is so long.
This is why dry aged premium steaks cost a gazillion dollars.
Yeah.
You buy it, you dry age it. I think people do like 15, 30, 45, 60, whatever, 90 days. Nobody does 152 days. That's ridiculous. As the meat dries out, basically rots and gets like fungus and mold. And so you're losing so much of the yield on your meat. So if you're dry aging 500 pounds, you might get to use like 250, 300 pounds of already very expensive beef. For myself, I know that the flavors get concentrated and the bacteria work their magic and You get the funk and the umami, which I usually love. But for me, super dry aged proteins, I just taste too much of that funk, too much of that moldiness, earthiness. Mm-hmm. It's not for me.
I don't think I've had anything that old before. Like, except for like a cured ham, but that's a whole nother process. Like, it's
Cured
not
ham, yeah.
it's not a steak, you know?
Cured ham is magic.
Yeah. 52 days. Arbitrary, I think, but hilarious. The way that she explains it, she was like, "What?" I forget who asked her the question. He was like, "What if you serve it at 151 days? Does all hell break loose?"
It's probably Tyler.
Yeah. Or it was one of the finance bros, I think.
Oh, you know what? You're right. That actually makes more sense.
She had such a dramatic answer to it. She was like, "Yes, all hell will break loose." Gotta say, Hong Chow, like, she's good in everything. Like, I love this actress. She is so brilliant.
Brilliant.
Just completely scary.
Embodies that character with such a steely coldness and devotion. That's some serious acting there.
Now let's talk about emulsions. The definition here is one liquid dispersed in another, mixing oil and vinegar into something that makes mayonnaise or hollandaise. I think the character of Lillian Bloom was so accurate.
Yeah, I don't think it was a farce at all.
And it is believable for her to have been a critic at Saveur, because that is a recognizable franchise. Yeah. But for those in the know, Saveur actually was discontinued for a couple years or, for a period of time, like around the COVID era. And it changed ownership in recent years. It's now independently owned and run by Kat Craddock, shout out, who I had the pleasure of meeting and interviewing last year. But I did love that detail that she was from Saveur,
No, absolutely. And then, so Kat Craddock, Jen De La Vega, and I were all trend spotters at the Fancy Food Show.
Oh, that's right. By the time this comes out, that might have passed already.
That's okay. That scene in Chef where Jon Favreau has that confrontation with the critic, and he's like, "What do you do all day? You shit on my shit. It hurts my feelings. I work really hard." Uh-huh. That struck a chord. And I think with this Lillian woman, she's going out of her way to find fault in everything they're doing. And unfortunately, I think that's how a lot of restaurant critics behave, because unfortunately, people respond better to critique and things that are mean and sarcastic than genuine praise and kind words. People love catty, petty, gossipy things. And so I think that's why a lot of restaurant critics tend to write that way.
I mean, this is also why the publisher, the guy that she was with, also gets punished. He houses the media. He houses all of the articles that she's writing. And so that's why he was just as liable for all of this.
Well, and he doesn't push back. He's just like kissing her butt the entire meal.
Oh my God, kissing her butt.
It was so gross, but
so much.
I bet you that's what happens if we're really kind of looking at, is this realistic or not? I've never known a publisher to kowtow to someone who works for them like that. Ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the publisher is the money. That was a little bit odd.
The other way around.
Yeah. But maybe they were trying to say that she's so powerful, that's why the dynamic is different. Which I guess would make sense. She's the most powerful food critic in the world. And she discovered Slowick.
God.
She put him on the map. But that actress who plays her, she's so good as well. So we all know her from The Ozarks. All right, so moving on. Jus marrow, meat juice, thin gravy, center of the bone, produces blood cells. This is something that I think is kind of separates chefs and true foodies from tourists. Every chef I know thinks that bone marrow is the greatest thing ever. Anthony Bourdain famously said, bone marrow is like if God made butter. And, you roast it, you slather it on some bread, get your little herb salad, maybe some capers. I don't think that there's anything better. I mean, it is really spectacular. But I've definitely gone out to dinner with non-chef, non-foodie people, and they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah, it can be off-putting. It can be.
They're like, "That is disgusting."
Yeah. You can have too much bone marrow also. It's quite fatty.
Yes. And if you don't have the herbs and the acid and the pickly component, it's unmanageable. You need the balance. You need the sort of more muted flavors of the bread. Umeboshi are salted Japanese plums, but they're actually pickled brined ume fruit, which is much closer to an apricot. I'm not exactly sure why we call them plums when they're closer to apricots, but that's the name that stuck.
Interesting. We got this at 58 minutes, 48 seconds. It's part of the 6th course, Man's Folly. One of the line cooks sticks scissors in Slowick's leg. And then the ladies got to eat Dungeness crab, fermented yogurt whey, dried sea lettuce, and umeboshi. Does that sound like it would go together?
No.
Crab and umeboshi.
But I would trust Dominique Crenn. If she said it went together, it should go together. I would trust her palate. But I agree. At first, I don't know that sounds like something that I would think they would go together. But again, I bow down to the goddess.
It is an acquired taste for sure. And most people would encounter this at a Japanese grocery store. Like if you got ready-made onigiri, a lot of the times it's umeboshi that's inside of the rice ball.
What is onigiri?
Onigiri is a Japanese rice ball, the little triangle-shaped ones. And you can get them at 7-Eleven in Japan. They're usually wrapped in nori or seaweed.
And finally, we are going to discuss the chefiest of chef things. Creme fraiche. They had a whole episode of South Park.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Dedicated to
Creme fraiche.
Creme fraiche. If you've never seen an episode of South Park, you need to just watch that one episode. And I don't want to spoil it for you. That's all I will say.
It is a fantastic episode.
It's one of the best episodes of TV ever made. Creme fraiche is a soured cream. Less sour than sour cream, but higher fat content.
Mm-hmm. Did you know in France there are grades of creme fraiche? Like we have low-fat milk
Yeah.
and full-fat milk? They have full-fat creme fraiche and half-fat creme fraiche in France.
I think I did know this.
It blows my mind that there are degrees of creme fraiche, because we only have like one
I think
in the
it's
US.
it's not a popular or widely used dairy product in the United States.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I think that's why we don't have the grades of it. I think in France they use it a lot more. They take it a lot more seriously. It's
The
more
dairy
common.
culture is different, for sure.
The dairy culture is very different. I would say in America, I have made my own creme fraiche. It was okay. But the best that I have bought stateside is Vermont Creamery has creme fraiche.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That is so
It is unbelievable.
silky and luxurious, and it's not cheap. I want to say that like tiny tub is like $8 or $10, but
Yeah.
you don't need a lot of creme fraiche, but a little bit goes a long way. And what I love about it is that the really good creme fraiche imparts a luxuriousness and a silkiness that you wouldn't get from sour cream or whipped cream. There's just something so lovely about creme fraiche. Oh, now I want creme fraiche.
Now you can taste the milk in that particular creme fraiche. I like to eat it with salmon eggs.
Ooh, yummy.
Yeah, on a bagel. That's nice.
Yeah, that's
Not a toasted bagel. I like the bagel untoasted if I'm using creme fraiche, because
Yeah.
I don't want it to go everywhere.
Yeah, people with a little bit thicker wallets, they'll go for caviar,
Oh
creme
yeah.
fraiche.
Yeah, all right.
Get your blini on. But
That's
yeah,
a Tyler order.
Tyler wouldn't just get caviar. He would have to get beluga or
Beluga,
Cetera.
yeah.
For our listeners, there's all different grades of caviar. But what's interesting is now there's a lot of really great farmed caviar. They filter the water and they make sure everything's the right temperature in the diet. The farmed caviar actually has come a long way from where it used to be. I think that's sort of synonymous with luxury. Caviar, creme fraiche, some fresh buckwheat blini.
All right, Clara, very important question.
I'm ready.
Where do you get the best cheeseburgers?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me this. My top votes in Philadelphia are Royal Tavern, High Street, Khyber Pass, Fountain Porter. I'd say High Street is a really good fancy burger. Fountain Porter is $6. It tastes like someone's dad grilled it up for you in the backyard. I don't think you can find a better burger for $6 in all of Philadelphia. Khyber Pass, it's a New Orleans themed restaurant. So they have a pickled green tomato. And then I want to say remoulade. That's a solid burger. They use really good Happy Valley meat. I'd say Royal Tavern is kind of like the OG best cheeseburger in Philly. Gouda, long hot. You know what? That one doesn't have any pickles on it, but I still love it. And then how about you? Where's your best cheeseburger?
Oh yeah, I have a running list of happy hour burger spots, specifically happy hour because they are discounted.
Love the discount.
I am a regular at Cozy Royale in Williamsburg. It's a $10 burger and fries.
Killer deal.
Single smash burger patty, excellent fries. We also got Gotham Burger Social Club in Greenpoint, and the recently opened Hamburger America in Manhattan. Shout out to George Motz. I love that guy, my God. He is the hamburger scholar. Do you know who that is?
I saw a thing about Hamburger America, and I really want to go there. He looks so obsessed with burgers,
Oh,
and
yes.
I'm here for it.
We judged a chili competition together, and so I'm locked in. I love this man.
Is he so fun in real life?
He is. He actually is very fun.
I love that.
And not only does he have his own smash burger at Hamburger America, he is researching old school hamburger recipes and bringing those fry cooks to New York to do monthly specials. So it is like sort of historical how he's approaching the hamburger menu. It's incredible.
He's like a hamburger ethnographer.
Ooh, yeah, totally.
I love that.
I am also an In-N-Out girly. I'm from California.
Yes.
Single cheeseburger, animal style with fries well done. Don't talk me out of it. I love my fries extra crispy.
You don't do the double-double?
No, I don't have that big of an appetite. Remember, I slice my burgers in half usually. In-N-Out is the only one that I can just finish. You know?
Yeah, it's a very small burger.
I like small. I don't like big.
When I lived in California, I think when I first got out there, I worked with a bunch of dudes. So they're always like double, french fries, milkshake, all that stuff.
4x4.
Yeah, 4x4, which is 4 beef patties.
4 slices of cheese.
Yeah, everything is 4 times. But you know what I found my favorite order was? I think because when you're a line cook, you work all the time. You don't get to eat properly. When you actually get to eat food, you're so hungry.
Ravenous.
For me, the double wasn't cutting it. It wasn't enough food. I would just get 2 cheeseburgers animal style, straight up.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the fries well done. The fries well done are better than the regular. I don't think their fries are that great. I said it,
They're all right.
Flame on, come roast me. I mean, this is the interesting question. I think for fast food fries, fresh McDonald's fries are very, very good.
Oh, they are paramount, yeah.
Sometimes I'm in the mood for the Wendy's, the thicker fries. You get that like kind of mealy potato inside. I would say fast food burgers, In-N-Out is at the top. Fast food French fries, In-N-Out is at the bottom.
Oh, interesting.
But I also love the In-N-Out milkshakes better than all the other ones. I would get the Neapolitan, right? The vanilla chocolate strawberry swirl. That's on the secret menu, guys.
Oh, I haven't tried that. Dang.
That's kind of what I would gravitate towards.
Wow. All right, listeners, can you share the best burger in your town and also your burger power rankings? I would love to hear about this.
Yes, please.
Clara, don't forget your gift bag. It has some homemade granola.
In a world of wannabe Tylers, be a Margot. Tune in next time as we explore diner food, snacks, and more in the movie Pulp Fiction.
Thank you for tuning into The Cinema Chefs. Please share your tips and tricks with our Instagram at The Cinema Chefs or drop us a line at thecinemachefs@gmail.com. We hope you enjoyed the show. This is Jen.
And Clara, signing off.
Just remember, you can become a better cook just by watching a movie. The Cinema Chefs was recorded in Brooklyn, New York and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Edited by Jen De La Vega. Music by Penguin Music, Paradise Island from Pixabay. Our logo was by Nikki Newsom.